Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Dental Hygiene Basics podcast. My name is Dana. I'm your host. I'm excited to be here today. And today I'm going to talk to you guys about using the power of the word why and why asking the question why is going to lead you to better results on your exams, on your homework, and just in general help you to learn better in dental hygiene school. If you've been listening for a while, you probably know I've been an educator for many years. And recently, well, I say recently, it's been 2 years that I've really been working in the world of national board exam prep. And shout out to Student RDH. I love them. I've been doing a lot of work with them, but also I tutor for the national boards. And I mainly work with students who haven't been successful on the board exam. So through that process over the last 2 years, getting to know these students and working with them and seeing their unique difficulties that they're struggling with on the exam, there's one thing that kind of is a recurring theme that pops up here and there. And of course, it always depends on the student, but one thing that I noticed is some students really understand something on a surface level. So if I ask kind of a straightforward question, they will know the answer without a problem. But if I ask them why that is the correct answer, they cannot give me the explanation behind it. So I want to give you an example of what that looks like. For example, let's say that you know, and if you're new to dental hygiene, you probably won't know this, and that's totally fine. But if you've been in dental hygiene school for a while, you'll know this. But an example would be periodontitis. Periodontitis is a type of gum disease, and we know that this type of gum disease can cause loss of the periodontium, bone loss, gum loss, periodontal ligament loss, all of those things. Okay, so if I ask you the question, you're looking at an x-ray and I say, is there bone loss? And you say, yes. I say, okay, so you're probably leaning towards periodontitis as the diagnosis? Yes. Okay, why does periodontitis cause bone loss? And if I ask that question, what you see is the student stops and they're like, well, I know that periodontitis and bone loss go together, but that's the only association that they know, right? There's no further depth beyond that point. And when you're studying for these really difficult exams and you're studying for the board exam specifically, they expect you to understand the material beyond just a surface level. And so just for funsies here, we'll talk about, why do we lose bone during periodontitis? Because the way I describe this to my patients, I say, your body does not like the bacteria that's growing on your teeth. Your body will try and fight off that bacteria as well as it can. It'll send white blood cells to the area, but eventually the white blood cells kind of just throw up their hands. They're like, look, we can't really deal with this bacteria. It's growing on the tooth. It's begging you to get it removed, get your teeth clean, brush your teeth. But what happens is eventually your body kind of says, we really don't need teeth to survive. So how about we change the game plan, right? Let's pivot. Let's get rid of the bone. Let's get rid of the gum. Let's get rid of the periodontal ligament and let's get the tooth out of the mouth. So the way I say this to my patients is your body would rather live without teeth than live with that bacteria growing on your teeth. Now, the other thing that I tell my patients, I say, thankfully, we have not learned how to speed this process up. Like your body is very slow at getting rid of teeth for the most part. And so if we can catch it early, we can have a good prognosis for getting the patient, more stable and preventing it from getting worse. But you're not going to wake up with your tooth on your pillow with no indicators leading up to it, right? Your teeth are going to get wiggly and things like that. So again, we have to understand why that happens. The primary etiology of periodontitis or any type of gum disease like gingivitis is the bacteria, the biofilm. Okay. From there, it's what the body does in response to the biofilm that actually causes the loss of tissue. And that's why I say your body says abort mission, get rid of the tooth. Your body will start sending out chemical mediators that break down the bone, break down the gum, break down the ligament until eventually you've lost enough and the tooth can fall out. Okay. So your body kind of treats your tooth like a splinter. It just gets rid of all of the supporting structures to get the tooth out of the head. So if you don't understand that, you're going to have a hard time really answering some of these more difficult questions. I want you to think about why you need to understand that, but I also want you to think about asking the question why. So when you're learning anything at all, I want you to just rattle off that question why over and over and over again. So for example, let's say that you're starting head neck anatomy and you see a word of a structure that you've never seen before. Let's just say it's the infraorbital foramen. You're like, okay, infraorbital foramen. It's a foramen, below the eye socket. So my first question would be, why is it named infraorbital foramen, right? because that's a weird word. We can't just say it's a hole under the eye, right? It has a special term. Why was it named that? Infra means below something. Orbital means the eye. So infraorbital means below the eye. Foramen means a hole or a passageway. So this is literally telling you exactly where it is and exactly what it is just by the name that it has. Okay. And so if you start asking, why was it named this? What is the point of this? What is the point of a hole beneath your eye? And as you learn more about head and neck anatomy, important nerves come out of that hole. Okay. So keeping that question of why throughout your entire dental hygiene school education beyond, what you're going to see is if you get curious about your learning and you're asking those questions and you're really learning it beyond just the surface layer, right? You could just learn, you could pull up a picture of a skull and say, okay, this is the infraorbital foramen, this is the supraorbital notch or whatever. You could say, this is the center of the nose, this is the ala of the nose. Like you could label everything, right? But you could also never truly understand it. And the benefit of learning things like that and asking those questions is we start to see patterns that will spread across our entire dental hygiene education. So I'm going to encourage you to really start asking the question, why? If you cannot explain this out loud to yourself, you don't know the material. Okay. So I want you to really, really make this a priority as you're studying in dental hygiene school. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening, for tuning in. Just a reminder, if you are new here, definitely subscribe, follow so that you don't miss an episode. But also, if you're about to start dental hygiene school, enroll in our dental hygiene basic training program. We really teach a lot of these beginner essentials and help you to go into dental hygiene school feeling prepared. And it's not going to be overwhelming. I know some people say, no, you shouldn't study at all going into dental hygiene school. And I don't want you to overwhelm yourself before you go into dental hygiene school either. So this program is designed, it's 7 weeks long and it's 1 hour a week. Okay. So it's not going to take all of your time, maybe an hour and a half to like fill out some of the handouts and things like that. But it shouldn't be taking you 10 hours a week to do this. So this is something very basic to just get the ball rolling and make that process of transitioning into dental hygiene school a little bit easier. Okay, thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great day. Best of luck on your journey, future registered dental hygienist.